And so I think that also brings us into the second point.
Mm-hmm.
It is the GPA, and does it really matter? What does it mean? And as we mentioned, yes, a GPA, grade point average, it does matter. Colleges are looking at those grades, and if you are noticing that after the first quarter, this is just my opinion, after first quarter grades, after you get that first report card and you're noticing, okay, these grades are a little low, then that's especially when you need to reach out for help, whether it's tutoring from your teacher, whether it's outside tutoring, because you're realizing that these grades are the final grade for that quarter. And so there needs to be some type of intervention early. At least you've caught it in the first quarter, per se, as opposed to the third quarter where you only have one more quarter left. So, things that can affect your GPA, things that could possibly bring your GPA up are taking honors classes and doing well in those, AP, advanced placement courses, IB, International Baccalaureate. I know every school doesn't have IB classes per se, but those are weighted higher than your regular, college placement classes. So that's another way to boost your GPA and do well in those classes.
And that's something that like a lot of students don't know as far as like the different types of classes and how they're weighted. They have no idea. So that's just, another indicator as far as we're not getting the information, the students aren't getting the information that they need. And that's that's a huge point to make. And also going back to early intervention, we were in classrooms and being a teacher, and that's one thing that we did. When that first progress report came out, we looked, and those, not just failing, but just like even a C, and just seeing that they're struggling on a particular topic, we would definitely reach out to the parent and the student, just let them know early intervention is key. Don't wait to the last semester or last quarter, what have you, and then try to be reactive, but you have to be proactive, and that is key, and especially working with the freshmen, like you said, going back into starting early. Let's do it now. Let's get the tutoring. Let's get whatever we need to do, just try to be proactive and try to rectify the situation there. So thank you so much for pointing that one out.
Exactly. And again, with the whole money piece, I want to talk about students who may not be prepared for college having to take remedial courses. So that means that, let's say after they graduate from high school, they got into college, but they have to take some summer classes. So that's money that they have to pay. That's in addition to what other students will have to pay coming in starting in August. You might be starting school in June, like 2 weeks after you graduate from high school. You might be in college taking summer remedial classes in math and mainly math and a few other potential courses so that you can get caught up. But that's money you have to pay out of your pocket for those courses. So I was looking at some statistics just last week. In the class of 2018, about 52% of students had to take remedial courses. 52% of all college students. So whether that's you're going to community college or four-year school, they included those stats in there. So I thought that was pretty alarming. And it goes to show about the preparation for college and how it can be still costly.
I actually teach kind of, I guess you would say, the math remedial courses at a community college. And it was just this one particular student, he was just zipping through the information. I'm like, why are you taking these classes? He said, because I didn't take high school seriously. He said, I just didn't pay attention. I didn't turn in my homework or what have you. So he could have avoided all of that had he done the work, in high school. So yeah, they just have to be mindful and know how important it is to do what they need to do then. So again, so they don't have to waste time, waste money, finances, or what have you, trying to take the remedial courses. So yeah.
Exactly. And to your point, I've noticed that there can be some students who have like a low GPA, let's say a 2.5 GPA, but they score a pretty good score on the SAT or ACT. That goes to show what Ms. Hinton was saying. They just weren't turning in their work. They had the knowledge, but then they made it costly because it affected their GPA, but they could do the work. So GPA is not always an indicator of how intelligent you are per se.
Yes. And that's I think that's something we had talked about before. I don't like to use this term, but this is what it is. Trying to help parents understand that there are fake grades that are given. I hate to say it. There's a difference between being graded based off of accurate work and just being graded because you turn stuff in.
Mm-hmm.
Those are two totally different types of grades. And so when it comes to the correlation between GPA and your ACT or your SAT, if you don't see some sort of pattern of them always being able to perform at a certain level, more than likely something's off. And it's not a matter of always questioning teachers or always saying that the student isn't doing well enough, but that does exist. So a lot of times when students come and they want to prepare for, a standardized test and they don't do as well, a lot of times parents or students are just surprised. And that's kind of the first thing I ask them, like, did you really, let's look back at your grades. What did you really learn in this class, in this class, in this class? Because again, just getting a grade doesn't mean you actually learned the material. And that's an uncomfortable conversation to have, but it happens. It just does. There are a lot of students who are in college, you didn't necessarily learn X, Y, and Z. You learned how to get through the class. And I'm not saying it's their fault. I think we all have done that. I think everybody's had at least one class and you're just like, yeah, we just go mark some answers.
Thank you for that class.
Exactly. But depending on your aptitude, that can really hurt you in some cases. And I also wanted to say, back when you were talking about tutoring and intervening early, I think a lot of times parents are assuming that if there's a problem, the school or the teacher will reach out. And I think teachers are assuming that, well, I've posted this online, so parents are going to reach out if they have a question. And sometimes neither party is communicating with each other, and the student's just there in the middle and nothing's happening. So I'm glad you said that, because that's something, again, we tell parents all the time, and teachers is, sometimes you're going to have to be a bit more assertive as far as getting that communication and getting the information. Because like you said, tutoring should not just happen when you're trying to graduate and you realize that might not happen. It should happen the minute you see that there is a problem. And tutoring, that could be, like you said, coming to a service. That could be going to your next door neighbor. That could be your mom or your dad. That could be your older brother, older sister. It doesn't have to have this negative connotation that we've assigned to it. It just means you need help, and everybody needs help at some point in their life.
Absolutely. Absolutely.